Afternoon. Welcome to the latest edition of my podcast. Today, I've joined Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham, an absolutely amazing guest. The circumstances is far from that. Just yesterday, Wigan Athletic entered the demonstration, and obviously it shocked the football world, it shocked the club, and obviously Andy Burnham's here to talk about the club and give his opinion. So, Andy, what was your immediate reaction when Wigan were announced to be in administration?
Yeah, I was in a meeting on COVID-19 with the other Greater Manchester leaders, so I was kind of a bit, and I just saw the message flash up on my phone, and my heart sank really, because I know I live in the borough. I know what the club means to you all. I see the work that it does. Yeah, it was a shock, but also I knew straight away how people would be feeling, and it's probably why I wanted to come on this tonight, really, just to show people that I get where you are and I'm here to help, really. I don't want to see this football club that does so much in our borough sort of be treated like this.
Obviously, what work have you seen the Wigan Community Trust do in your time living in the borough, and obviously as your role as a Greater Manchester Mayor?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, the last thing actually was a session for older people at Lee Miners, where they were putting on sort of activities to get older people active, gentle sports activities, which was fantastic to see. I know they've done so much for the Brick homeless charity. I made a big thing about trying to work to tackle homelessness. The club have been brilliant on that. I mean, there's so much I could say. I mean, I constantly came into contact with them in my time as the MP for Lee, and yeah, no one needs to persuade me of how much this club is rooted in its community.
Obviously, you've kind of read around the circumstances, what's happened to the club. What's your immediate stance on it, and what do you think's gone on?
So I have read it. I read your letter that you wrote to your open letter, which was really powerful, by the way, and well done to you for all the work that you're doing, the way you've spoken out today. I think you've done it brilliantly. I mean, it's complicated, isn't it? I suppose is the first thing. It's murky, but it looks dodgy as hell to me. Two sides of a transaction where they both know each other are and effectively are the same thing by the looks of it. The conflict of interest is massive. So there's that, which looks, as I say, potentially fraudulent. I don't know, but I mean, it looks serious. But then, how did this get past the Football League as recently as the 24th of June? And we've been here before, haven't we, with the fit and proper person test? And there are questions there. So, I from what I can tell, I mean, I obviously don't know. I'm just giving you my kind of first reaction here, and I can't say for certain that I know it's dodgy or it looks it, is what I'm saying, and it needs a thorough investigation.
Do you believe that the authorities and the government officials could help Wigan Athletic by launching an investigation into this case?
I certainly could. It falls to the football authorities first, doesn't it? It's the Football League first and foremost that have to account for what has happened here, because you can't have someone approved. I think I've got this right, haven't I? 24th of June, and then
Correct.
The club runs out of money on 2 weeks later. I mean, less. That can't be right. And the thing that worries me as well, of course, is that the league immediately, as they do, applying their 12-point sanction. Well, that needs to be suspended, in my view, because that potentially takes more value out of the club, and therefore, further just sort of makes a bad situation worse. So there just needs to they need to stop it here, don't they? Investigate it quickly, and if there has been fraud or suspected fraud, that needs to be referred to the authorities straight away.
Do you think if it is a case of fraud, it is beyond the Football League? Obviously, a criminal offence.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it is at the moment, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know the individuals concerned. I don't know how they've made these transactions happen. They just don't look good, do they? When you look at how it's been done, it's almost as if it's a situation that's been manufactured to sort of take funds out of Wigan Athletic, and yeah, given that the same person is on both sides of this, so new leader fund. I think I've got that right.
Yeah, spot on.
There's somebody who's an owner of that, who's also an owner of the entity that sold the club. So that immediately rings alarm bells, doesn't it? And it needs to be investigated. And it's probably beyond the Football League, to answer your question. I think it needs to be looked at by the financial authorities.
Absolutely. And obviously, you mentioned previously the EFL's fit and proper persons test has come into fire yet again. Do you feel like they need to review the policies to protect more football clubs? Obviously, in the Northwest, we've seen Bolton, Bury, Blackpool, Wigan now all affected by it. Do you think it's time they take action and stop almost letting clubs down?
Well, yes. I mean, I was one of those who called for its introduction sort of many years ago. And it's never been a proper test as far as I can work out. I understand the difficulty the league are in. They need to bring investors into the game to stop clubs going bust. But it sometimes feels as though the desperation to do that means that, blind eyes are turned and corners cut. And, and we see that, don't we? We see that time and again. So, yes, I mean, it's simply the test isn't fit for purpose. It's not fit and proper itself as a test at the moment. Never mind, it doesn't guarantee that the people who are being passed under it are fit and proper either. So, this is a story that, as you say, has repeated itself too many times for my liking. And what I would say, to be honest with you, the game has shown, in my view, not just the Football League, Football Association, Premier League, it can't regulate itself financially. And I think probably we now need an independent financial regulator of football.
That is an excellent point. And obviously, you mentioned previously as well, I know we're tracking back, but the 12-point deduction, which Wigan were imposed just half an hour after administration was announced by obviously the press. Do you feel like that was almost throwing the book and it was a little bit insensitive, although it is the rules?
Certainly insensitive. I mean, it's automatic, I guess, isn't it? That's what they say, administration automatic. I think that's the Football League position at the moment.
Frozen.
You're frozen, Jay, there. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I think it's Skype. No, it's fine. We'll keep rolling. It's coronavirus interview times. It's technical difficulties galore. We've got to make it do, haven't we? And we can continue on with the same question.
Yeah, I think it's automatic. That's why it was done, but it definitely appeared insensitive. As I say, I mean, I think there should be an immediate call on the league to suspend that penalty pending investigation into what's gone on at Wigan Athletic and where the culpability for what has gone on. It just assumes that the club is culpable. Well, it might be that the Football League is more culpable than the club.
Do you think the coronavirus pandemic will lead to more clubs following the same fate?
I fear so. Obviously, it's a risk, isn't it? And the risk is that clubs can be asset stripped if they're in this vulnerable position, and then and this possibly is what's going on here. I don't know, but it kind of looks a little bit like that. So yeah, I'm very worried about that, to be honest with you. I think the finances of League One and League Two were already shaky at best, and now with COVID-19, I think it could tip them over the edge. For me, it is partly about government help, possibly, giving them access to the furlough scheme until the crowds can come back. That's one route, but I don't think football can expect the government completely to bail it out. I think the Premier League is going to have to set up a football solidarity fund. The game's going to have to put its hand in its own pocket to look after its own clubs, and I think it's going to have to be a bit of a combination of both, to be honest. I think as we sit here today, it probably is the tip of the iceberg. I think there's probably another, this domino might knock 12 others down very quickly, because it's a very fragile state of affairs at the moment, and we just can't sit by and see these clubs go. Certainly not when it's being done by what seems to be quite underhand sort of manoeuvres.
Absolutely, and it's going to be so sad if more clubs have the same fate. So on a final note, what would be your message to Athletic fans during these unprecedented times?
Well, as I say, I kind of live amongst you all. I talk to you, I know how you feel, and there's so many people I know who just love the club. And you know, the reason I wanted to come on this tonight is just to say I get that. And if it was Everton, I would want the same from the people who could do something. So obviously Wigan are in Greater Manchester. I'm the mayor of Greater Manchester. I have a role here in speaking up for you, and I will do anything I can to stop this club going down. I tried everything I could with Bury, and we just couldn't stop it. I can't promise anything. I suppose I need to say that. These situations are always really involved and complicated, and that's how these people sometimes get away with it, because it's so complicated. It's sort of, it takes ages to unravel. But that said, I'm here to be a voice for you. I was really pleased to see Lisa Nandy speaking up for the club earlier today. That was a really strong statement that she issued. So I'll certainly be working with Lisa on this. We both know what this club means to this borough, and I'm here to do whatever I can to help.
And I'd like to say a massive thank you on behalf of every Wigan Athletic fan for the support you've given us today. For my final note is, obviously, Andy mentioned the previous open letter. If you go on my Twitter, @JWhittle6, you can access it there. Please keep sharing, please keep retweeting it. It's so important that the right people keep on seeing it, and it doesn't happen again. It's something I'm so passionate about. And, we don't deserve to leave our club. Bury didn't, no one does. And obviously, as a football fan, it's your worst nightmare to lose your club.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I don't want to be sitting in a few months' time and not have a club to support anymore.
No. I mean, I say you've done a brilliant job today. You're on the TV, weren't you, this morning? And you've done a great job, and well done. And you're speaking for a lot of people, but actually, you're speaking for people outside of Wigan, aren't you? Because a lot of people will have a lot of affection for the club. So well done. As I say, I mean, I just need to reiterate in closing, I can't assert anything tonight about who's done what and who's done what wrong, and who's to blame and whatever. What I can say is this needs investigating. It needs investigating properly, potentially referring to the financial authorities, and it can't be the players, the staff, the supporters of Wigan Athletic Football Club who are penalised for the failures of others.
Absolutely. What a fantastic way to end. I've been Jay Whittle. This has been Andy Burnham, and this is the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for Andy for being a guest.
No worries.